All right, I'm Joe Kaplowitz and welcome to another installment of the HGU Sessions. On this episode, I'm going to demonstrate a little bit about organ playing and in specific, bass lines. Now this, if you're a bass player, if you're learning about different styles of music and you play electric or acoustic bass, this will be beneficial for you as well. What is a bass line? Why do we have bass lines? And what are their importance? Well, I'll tell you what, without bass lines, Western music as we know it today would pretty much fall apart. And even electronic music has a bass line. They have these big fat synth bass lines, right? So a bass line is a pattern or a moving set of patterns and ideas that illustrate a harmonic progression, but mostly show rhythm and function together with a drum or maybe without a drum by itself. But a bass line. I'm going to use my organ over here. If you're looking at the cue at this cool keyboard view we have here, the organ, now this is not a Hammond organ in any stretch of the imagination, this is a Nord, and we have this little light array here and we can illustrate our drawbar settings, right? Okay, so with these lights, you see you have 9 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Okay, well that was like, it would be on a Hammond that you pull out the drawbars, right? Okay, so basic organ bass line sound would be like the first one is all the way out, that's your fundamental, then you go here, put the second one in about the middle, and the third one all the way out. This came, I don't know, if you study the tradition of jazz organ playing, if you know about Jimmy Smitha, this was one of his main settings, and Jimmy Smith's kind of the father of jazz, funk, rock organ playing. He's the one that really popularized it, and many people imitated his style. So if you haven't heard of Jimmy Smitha, check him out, man. It's important education. Okay, let's get into what a bass line is. Now, I was just doing C minor to F7. This is the progression, C minor to F7. Let's say 1 measure a piece, and again, I'm doing a swing feel. I'll illustrate to you a funky feel or a straight feel, just the same. So here's a pattern that I do all the time. Right, okay, so let's go over the pattern, right? The pattern was C, D, E flat, E natural, F, A, B flat, B natural, C, right? Now that is a very basic pattern. You're gonna get that from, well, you can hear that in gospel music, you can hear that in funk music, jazz, blues, it's all over the place. Stevie Wonder's I Wish, it's got a section that goes just like that. If you play a bass guitar, it's going to be easy for you to do it because you're just kind of going up, up and down, up and down, up and down. So on keyboard, up to F, back down to A, back up to C, right? You'd be surprised how far you can get with a simple pattern like that. So see, it gives you a propelling, forward-moving rhythm, and there's no mystery whatsoever in any way what the chords are, because it's a repeating reciprocal pattern that it's kind of like the double helix. It kind of reflects in on itself. C, D, E flat, E, F, and then A, B flat, B natural, C, right? That would be great in a blues style or a jazz style. I can do a funky version of that. It's fine. In this case, I'm kind of doing alternating octaves. Now, if you're a bass player, you say, oh, that's a disco line. Come on, that's it. Well, yeah, it is, but it came from funk, man. And you can make it sound better than disco if you want by doing some little in-between notes. Watch this. See, I'm putting a note in between the octaves. I put the fifth in between. I play it really short. And sometimes I don't even play the right note. I play a note around it. It's more for its accent, for its effect, as like a bass drum almost, you know. See? And it's all about the feel. It's about rhythm. Now, what to do with that? Okay, so my next point that I want to get to you is about articulation. Now, if you play a bass, play a bass line, you're going to have long notes and short notes. And the positioning of these two things is crucial to giving you the feel and the style of the music that you're doing. So when do you play short and when do you play long? This is crucial importance here. So when I started out, I'm doing organ style. You know, organ players have a way, you can kind of slur the notes together. They're all long, right? Well, they're not all long. Normally, I would have a set of bass pedals underneath here, which I don't have them here, but I would be accenting my notes along. And the ones, you know, it would give you the effect of having almost like short notes, accented notes, right? So let me illustrate how it would be done away with no pedals. So it would be like boom, 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 I'm going long, long, short, 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 long, 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 short, 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 like this. So when I play two long notes together, followed by a short note, you get the feeling of an accent on the short note, see? That's in a swing style. What if we took funk music? We took a funky or a rock beat. Now, short notes are true, and long notes it's much more important. It's different to illustrate. So let's take the other line where I was going. So I go short, short, long, short, 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 long, short, short. Now, once I establish that pattern of short, short, long, short, short, once I establish that pattern, I repeat it exactly the same. I keep the same because that's establishing the style of the song, right? And on top of that, the guitar player or whoever else is playing is going to build in their part. And they're depending on those long and short notes to be consistent so that their part fits in. And you'll be surprised if you're playing along with some guys and you change up your articulation on the bass, you're going to notice everyone else starts changing their part. Like, whoa, whoa, okay, I got to change now. Drummer changes cymbals or something. It has a tremendous effect, the length of the note. So, boom, boom, boom. Right? There you go. If I was going to do a blues shuffle, I'd be doing long and short, long and short. This is a bass line for a blues shuffle. Ba-up, 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 long, short. Now, again, the consistency is a very important issue here. Are you consistent with your articulations? Do you do it the same over and over again? Well, I'll tell you, I remember the first few times I opened my big mouth and said I'm an organ player and I can play in your band. You know, I got into some blues bands, and I realized they need this for the whole gig. Dun, 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 dun. Wow, man, my hand was tired, man. And to keep that up, and I'm sure it's the same on bass, you have to practice that. The band is depending on you to be consistent in that rhythm the whole time, without fail. It's got to be there, and if it breaks down, then the song breaks down. Now I'm demonstrating with my right hand this 3 against 4. Dut, 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 dut. Well, that's because this is a triplet. It's a 3 against 4 polyrhythm, a triplet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? The first 2 notes are tied and the third one is short. So bum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba-dum, ba-dum. Right. So, okay, before I come to the end of this segment, I'd like to talk to you maybe a few musicians that you can check out, man. Bass players. Wow, well, the world is full of great bass players. And I would say for me, as an organist and even as a part-time electric bass player, my favorite bass players would probably be Ray Brown, the man who played for Motown on most of the Motown records, Jameson. I like to talk about him a lot. I like Victor Wooten, Marcus Miller, Jaco Pastorius. I mean, these are people who, they just personified the bass. They took the bass to another level, you know, took it to another level. And there are quite a few more. In the realm of organ players, we had Jimmy Smitha, Jack McDuff, Don Patterson, Larry Young, and we had my favorite, Richard Groove Holmes. He was a really great Hammond organ player. If you listen to the records of Richard Groove Holmes, you wouldn't think it was the organ playing the bass. It sounds like a bass player. His sound was so pure and his rhythm was so good, and the articulations, he played just like a bass player. So there you go. Check out those guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you get some inspiration from this, and I'll see you on the next episode of HGU Sessions. Thanks.